My sister ridiculed my home at Thanksgiving. I asked her to leave, and now she needs my help for her wedding. My name's Daniel. I'm 32, and I'm a mechanic. It's not a high-end job, but it keeps the bills paid, and I genuinely enjoy it. There's something satisfying about fixing things, solving problems with my hands. Plus, owning my small garage now means I don't have to deal with some out-of-touch boss. But that's not what this is about. This is about my chaotic family, particularly my sister, Sophie, who's at the heart of the drama. Let me give you some context. Growing up, we weren't dirt poor, but we weren't swimming in money either. My mom, Linda, worked as a waitress at a diner, and my dad, Harold, was a truck driver. Nothing fancy. They worked hard, but extra cash was scarce. My parents were practical, which makes what happened with Sophie so baffling. Sophie, my younger sister by 3 years, was always the golden child. You know, the kind who got everything handed to her while I had to scrape by. She never had to work for anything. As kids, it was like she could do no wrong. If Sophie wanted something, my parents would move mountains to make it happen. But me, I had to earn it or forget it. I'll be honest, it stung. I was out there mowing lawns, picking up odd jobs, saving every penny while Sophie got pocket money to hang out with her friends. My parents acted like it was no big deal, but it festered. Fast forward to when I was 27, I'd saved enough to buy my first house. It was a modest 2-bedroom fixer-upper in a less-than-ideal neighborhood, but it was mine. I poured months into renovations. New paint, floors, kitchen, everything. I was proud. It felt like my first real accomplishment, so I decided to host Thanksgiving to show it off. I invited my parents, and despite knowing it'd be trouble, Sophie too. Sophie was dating Nathan, a real estate guy, for about a year then. He was wealthy, or so she loved to brag. Fancy car, designer clothes, posh downtown condo. I didn't care about his money. Good for him, I guess. But I wasn't prepared for how Sophie and Nathan would behave that Thanksgiving. I'd spent all day cooking, cleaning, making sure everything was perfect. My parents arrived, and things were going fine, chatting, snacking, normal stuff. Then Sophie and Nathan showed up. Right away, Sophie had this air of superiority, like she was above us all. She wandered around my house, eyeing everything like she was judging it. I tried to brush it off, but I was getting annoyed. She started making snide remarks about how small my place was, how outdated the decor seemed, how the neighborhood wasn't safe. She didn't stop there. She went on about Nathan's massive condo, its floor-to-ceiling windows, city views, and high-tech security. I bit my tongue, but I was fuming. Who comes to someone's house for Thanksgiving and trashes it? My parents, of course, said nothing, probably thinking, "That's just Sophie." I was trying to stay calm, be the bigger person, but then she went too far. She started bragging about how Nathan paid for everything, how lucky she was, and how she'd never live in a place like mine. That was it. I snapped. "I bought this house with my own money," I said. "I worked for it. Didn't need mom and dad to bail me out, and I sure as hell don't need someone else's paycheck to get by. Can you say that?" Sophie's face turned scarlet. She knew I'd hit a nerve. Nathan gave me a smug look but stayed quiet. My parents sat there, awkward, clueless. I didn't care anymore. I was done. "If you think you're too good for my house," I told her, "there's the door. Nobody's forcing you to stay." And that was that. Sophie and Nathan stormed out. My parents tried to smooth things over, saying she didn't mean it, but I wasn't having it. I told them I was done putting up with her nonsense just because we're family. That was the last time Sophie and I spoke. 5 years no contact, and honestly, my life's been better without her drama. My parents, though, kept pushing for us to reconcile. Every so often, they'd bring her up, saying things like, "Family's family," or "You two need to move past this." But I wasn't interested. Sophie's always been entitled, and I was done. So that's the story. 5 years of silence because I finally stood up to her, and I don't miss her one bit. Fast forward to now, 5 years after that Thanksgiving mess. Things had been calm between Sophie and me, mostly because we didn't talk. I thought it'd stay that way, and I was fine with it. No stress, no chaos, but family drama never stays buried. A couple of weeks ago, my mom called out of nowhere. We'd been on okay terms since the fight, but we weren't chatting daily. When she said, "Daniel, we need to talk," my stomach dropped. I thought it was something serious, like Dad's health. Nope, it was about Sophie. She's getting married to Nathan, that same guy from 5 years ago. I just said, "Oh, okay," because what else was there to say? I didn't care about her love life. But Mom kept going, talking about how fancy the wedding would be, venues, flowers, the works. She was thrilled, as always, more invested in Sophie than me. Then came the bombshell. "We promised Sophie we'd cover the venue and decorations, but we need your help." I was stunned. Help with what? We need you to chip in for the costs, she said like it was the most normal request. I was floored. They wanted me to pay for Sophie's wedding. The same Sophie I hadn't spoken to in 5 years, who'd belittled me my whole life, who stormed out of my house without an apology. It felt like a bad dream. Mom, why would I do that? I asked, keeping my voice even despite the anger. She seemed shocked. Daniel, she's your sister. Family helps family. That set me off. Family helps family? Where was that when I needed help with trade school? You didn't lift a finger, but now you expect me to fund Sophie's wedding. She went quiet, probably because she had no comeback. But I wasn't done. I reminded her how they'd always favored Sophie, how I'd had to fend for myself, and now they were acting like none of that mattered. It's different, she finally said. I laughed not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. You think I've got cash to throw at Sophie's wedding? I'm not giving you a dime. If you can't afford it, you shouldn't have promised it. Mom got defensive, saying they didn't want Sophie to feel unsupported, especially compared to Nathan's rich family who were splashing cash on the wedding. It was all about appearances, keeping up with Nathan's parents. Shallow. I told her it wasn't my responsibility and I didn't care about the wedding. She tried guilt-tripping me, saying it was a once-in-a-lifetime event, but I held firm. The call ended awkwardly, with her saying she'd talk to Dad and figure something out. I felt drained. The nerve of them, asking me to pay for Sophie after everything, brought back all the resentment I thought I'd moved past. A week later, Dad called. He doesn't call often, so I knew it was serious. Your mom says you won't help with Sophie's wedding, he said, no small talk. Yeah, that's right, I replied, bracing myself. He sighed, then went into how they'd promised to pay and were now stuck, how it'd look bad if they didn't follow through. Again, it was about appearances, not Sophie. Dad, I'm not responsible for your promises, I said. If you can't afford it, that's on you. He kept talking about family sticking together, but I cut him off. I'm not doing it. Figure it out. The call ended on a bad note, but I didn't feel guilty. For once, I was standing my ground. I thought that'd be the end of it, but no. A few days later, my cousin Lucas texted, wanting to talk. Lucas is one of the few relatives I like. He stays out of drama. But when we got on the phone, he said, Man, what's going on with your folks? Your mom's upset, saying you won't help with Sophie's wedding and the whole family's talking. I wasn't surprised. My parents love playing the victim, spinning stories to make me look bad. I explained to Lucas, I don't talk to Sophie, so why would I pay for her wedding? He got it but warned me the family was painting me as the problem. They're only hearing your parents' side, he said. I was livid. Bad enough to have this fight, but now they were dragging the whole family into it. I did something risky. I sent a group text to the family. Hey, I've heard there's talk going around. Yes, Mom and Dad asked me to help pay for Sophie's wedding. No, I'm not. I haven't spoken to Sophie in years, and it's not my job to fund her wedding. I didn't start this, but I'm not being guilt-tripped. Thanks. I didn't expect replies, but my phone blew up. Aunts, cousins, even distant relatives chimed in, some supportive, others nosy. My Uncle Peter sent a long text about how I was being petty, how I should help for the family's sake. Then Mom called, furious. Why are you texting the whole family? She demanded. Because you're making me look bad, I shot back. I'm just setting the record straight. She called me selfish, saying I was making things harder for everyone. I told her it wasn't my problem. She made the promises, not me. The call ended with her saying I'd regret turning my back on family. I was exhausted, tired of the guilt, the manipulation, the expectation that I'd fix their mess. This wasn't about money or the wedding. It was about control. My family always expected me to fall in line, to be the good son who never pushed back. This time I said no, and that's why they were so mad. A few days later, Dad showed up at my house unannounced. A first. Can we talk? He asked, looking uneasy. I let him in, bracing for another lecture. He sat on my couch, glancing around like he'd never been there. Things have gotten out of hand, he said. Your mom's upset. I nodded. I know where I stand, Dad. He tried the family angle again, saying they just wanted my help, not the whole bill. But it was the same story, appearances, not wanting to look bad next to Nathan's family. That's on you, I told him. You promised, not me. I laid it out. They'd always favored Sophie, and now they expected me to bail them out. It wasn't fair. For once, he seemed to listen. I guess we didn't see it that way, he admitted. He even suggested helping might fix things with Sophie. I almost laughed. Money won't fix that, Dad. Our issues go deeper. He looked defeated but nodded. We'll figure something out, he said. We talked about other things, work, life, and it felt good to have a normal moment with him. When he left, he gave me a pat on the shoulder. Take care, Kev. I felt a mix of relief and frustration. I'd held my ground, but I knew Mom and the family drama weren't done. A few days later, the silence felt eerie. Then my Aunt Carol texted, wanting to talk. Carol's the family meddler, always stirring the pot. On the call, she started with fake sweetness. "Why are you being so stubborn, Daniel? It's your sister's wedding." I explained, again, that I don't talk to Sophie, so why would I pay? She sighed like I was clueless. Family's family. This could be a chance to reconnect. Reconnect? After 5 years, I wasn't buying it. Then she called me selfish. That word again, I snapped. "Selfish? I've kept the peace for years, and now I'm the bad guy for saying no?" She brushed it off, saying I was making a big deal out of nothing. I hung up, done with it. The next day at work, my phone kept buzzing with family messages. Cousins, uncles, even people I hadn't spoken to in ages, all weighing in. By lunch, I was fed up. I turned off my phone and focused on work. At least at the garage, things made sense. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories. Get more experiences.